Hey guys, let's get to business. We're talking, this may surprise you, about Benjamin Percy's Thrill Me. I'm going to be telling you about the essay, It Sounds Like Writing. If I break into a coughing fit during this presentation, just know that this is like the 5th time I've recorded this because I keep breaking into coughing fits, so we're just going to go with it. Alright, sounds like writing. This is an essay where Benjamin Percy is talking about style. Now, let's get down to it. What is style? Style is a lot of things. Style is the language that you choose to use, vocabulary, the tone that is created. It's some way that I haven't always thought about, but is super effective, is the sentence on the sentence level. How many words are you using in a sentence, and then how many what is it like when they're right next to each other? So when you have like 5 staccato sentences of 1 to 6 words right next to each other in a paragraph, or not in a paragraph, or like in a line, what feeling does that create for the reader? That is a stylistic choice, right? So how are you using white space on a page? How long are your paragraphs? Are your paragraphs like half of one sentence sometimes? When you have a character that is repeating something really fast, do you put spaces between the words, or do you just let them run all one into each other? These are all stylistic choices that are going to be different for whatever you're writing. Like, I personally wouldn't expect someone writing a book similar to, say, Jane Austen's Pride and Prejudice to employ the same stylistic techniques as someone else writing a young, like, middle school grade novel. Right. So those two things are going to be a little different, but undoubtedly, no matter what, the way you write creates a feeling for your audience. And that's what we're thinking about here. So, in Benjamin Percy's Thrill Me, I opened up to Sounds Like Writing, which starts on page 105. This is a short essay, and it's super entertaining. And I've already learned more about writing just from this one essay, which indicates to me that if I read this whole book, I will be, 1, entertained, and 2, know more about writing. Awesome. So, he talks about sentences and how they do a lot to create feeling, and you have this power as a writer to bring the audience into what, how, where, all those things, when, all of it for what your character is feeling, doing, experiencing. So mentally, yes, you're transported, but it can start to feel really on this like physical level. That it's like, by reading this, you are experiencing what this character is experiencing, which is thrilling to me. So I opened up, and he, on page 110, talks about Telegraph Avenue, which is a book by Michael Chabon. Okay? And in the middle of this book, he uses a sentence that's 12 pages long. 12 pages long. I just had to repeat that in case you didn't understand the magnitude of this sentence. 12 pages, 1 period. That seems stifling and tiring and exhausting, and he puts it really well here, Percy does, when he says, what a stylist Chabon is. Powering out sentences that are the equivalent of executing a triple backflip on a bucking bull while juggling machetes and yodeling. He's right. That is what writing a 12-page sentence sounds like to me. Actually, writing a 12-page sentence sounds like actually hell to me. Like, if I was in the bad place, that would be my version of hell, maybe. And he just does it. So, good for him. But as Percy says, the pyrotechnics began to tire my eyes and fray my nerves. Long sentences aren't always what you're going to need, but sometimes it may be what you need. So if you want an example of the absolute like witchcraft of writing, you can turn to page 112, and there's a whole section, just an excerpt of the 12-page sentence. on an inverse, though I wanted to share this. This is the opener of that book, Telegraph Avenue. And it's much different. I'm going to be saying period when there's the end of the sentences, so you can really feel it. And I'm going to do a dramatic reading. Okay. A white boy rode flat-foot on a skateboard, towed along, hand to shoulder by a black boy pedaling a brakeless fixed-gear bike. Period. Dark August morning, deep in the flatlands. Period. Hiss of tires. Period. Granular unraveling of skateboard wheels against asphalt. Period. Summertime Berkeley giving off her old lady smell. 9 different styles of jasmine and a squirt of he-cat. Period. Okay. That section is so cool to me because I felt, in a way, the pacing of it was like I was riding a skateboard. Right? We have these 1 to 3 word sentences that feel almost like that halting, unexpected pushing of a foot on the asphalt. And then the longer sentences are when you're just coasting, right? That's kind of how that sentence felt to me. And I got really interested in this idea of, like, what can you do in your writing to make your audience feel like they're experiencing the same thing? So I pulled up A Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe, and I'm just going to do another dramatic reading of a great sentence in here. Oh God, and this is a bunch of sentences. Oh God, what could I do? I foamed, I raved, I swore. I swung the chair upon which I had been sitting and grated it upon the boards, but the noise arose over all and continually increased. It grew louder, 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 and still the men chatted pleasantly and smiled. Was it possible they heard not? Almighty God, no, they heard, they suspected, they knew, they were making a mockery of my horror. This is that, this I thought, and this I think. Okay, great reading from me of that. But the idea is, when I'm reading that, my heart is like racing, and I know, Telltale Heart, right, we have the beating heart, but like I'm feeling his anxiety, and it's like coming onto me, like I'm freaking out just with him. And that's a stylistic choice that is so interesting. I want to give a plug to this book called Maud Martha by Gwendolyn Brooks. This is a whole book, and it basically changed my life in high school. It's really easy to read. Look how few text is on each of these pages. It's more like a prose poem than anything else. This is a great book that does this thing of, like, I'm reading it and suddenly I am Maud Martha and I'm feeling what she's feeling. And Maud Martha is a character who is much different from me, but still I can still feel connected to her because of these stylistic choices that are being said and used. Another one, I brought this in class. It's called My True Love Gave to Me. You guessed it. Young adult, romance, short stories about Christmas. I don't know how it gets better than that. I really don't. This was the example I read in class, but since we're reading, I'm just going to read a little more. It says, it was cold out on the patio under the deck. Frigid. Dark. Dark because Mags was outside at midnight, and dark because she was in the shadows. This was the last place anyone would look for her. Anyone, and especially Noel. She'd miss all the excitement. First of all, I love the drama. And the short sentences put together, and then you can see because you aren't reading it, but what I just read was 3 paragraphs. So we not only have short sentences, but we have short paragraphs. And so what does that do for me as the reader? And what does that do for you as the listener? I've gone over time. I hope this was as good for you as it was for me. Goodbye.